This is a person that burns bridges.
Sitting here today, do you still consider Ms. Heard a friend?
I wouldn't consider her not a friend.
What does that mean?
We don't speak. We are not enemies.
When did you first tell Ms. Heard that you were no longer interested in having her as a client and being friends with her?
Well, I just told Amber that, I wish her well and I just have no interest in continuing.
Camille Vasquez emerged as Amber Heard's arch-nemesis during the infamous defamation trial in Fairfax County, Virginia. It too often went hammer and tong at it during cross-examinations, with Camille often being the one doing the questioning since she was believed to have been getting under Amber's skin, and it showed a lot of times in the televised broadcasts. Only now, Camille has once again come out and said some things that are definitely going to absolutely rattle Amber.
I don't think these people were her friends anymore. And I understand they testified the way they did, but most of them had already given testimony during the divorce, had been deposed during the case, and so they were locked in.
During Court TV's closing arguments with Vinnie Politan, Johnny Depp's lawyer, Camille Vasquez, was interviewed and gave some behind-the-scenes details about the trial between the Pirates of the Caribbean actor and his ex-wife, Amber Heard, which took the spotlight during the first half of the year. In the interview, Vasquez gives details about some of the events that took place during the trial and shares what is the perception he was left with after having worked in one of the most mediatic legal matters in recent years. One of the most difficult witnesses was Dr. Don Hughes, Camille comments, and another was Whitney, Amber's sister, because she was someone who was going to defend her relative no matter what, she added. The most intriguing portion of the interview, though, is when she confirms what she claimed about her during the trial's closing arguments. "I think she's a bridge burner," she remarked, followed by a brief video show in which some people who had some interaction with Heard pointed out that they didn't really have a close relationship with Amber. "I think these people, including her former lawyer, are no longer friends with her. Some of them showed a closed attitude about it, although this in no way means that they lied during their testimony," she said. And that may well be true considering recent reports about Amber Heard. Amber Heard is in a difficult predicament because she must pay her ex-husband Johnny Depp around $10 million after losing her defamation court action against him. The actress attempted to look for help from her circle of friends but was met with a locked door, further aggravating the situation. It is a large quantity of money for the actress to come up with, which is why she is attempting every method possible to pay off her debt. Within the close circle of friends are celebrities such as Kristen Stewart, Cara Delevingne, and Margot Robbie, although it is not known who has rejected her. Amber has approached several of her fellow partygoers in the hope that they will help her with a place to stay, but she has been rebuffed and, in many cases, completely ghosted, a source close to her told media outlets. She was also asked why she used to object so much to Amber's comments on the stand, to which Vasquez said she gave the impression that the things she said were things she had thought of at the last minute, that they were notes she had in a notebook. "I even felt that there was really no one on her team who was helping her with her statements. You would see her team and they were always sitting in their places. That made me feel really bad for her because our team is completely different." Camille was unequivocal about her opinion of Amber as a deponent. "I never saw her as a credible person or as someone likable. She claimed to be a victim of abuse, but the only person who ended up in the hospital with injuries was Johnny Depp. It was an intense relationship, but she was the aggressor," she said. Amber, not one to sit back and let things go someone else's way, also spoke out about Camille Vasquez a while ago. Amber Heard didn't just attack ex-husband Johnny Depp in her first interview about her humiliating courtroom loss. She also took direct aim at his now celebrity attorney Camille Vasquez. This video does not aim to take sides, only to present facts as they were reported. Speaking to NBC News for a one-hour Dateline special, Heard showed clear disdain when Savannah Guthrie asked about Vasquez's repeated argument that the actress gave the performance of her life and was merely acting in her explosive courtroom testimony. Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers, Heard shot back, her voice dripping with sarcasm while referring to Depp's performance in the 1990 fantasy Edward Scissorhands. "I'm the performer. I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly, that I'm a terrible actress. So I'm a bit confused how I could be both." When Guthrie directly questioned if she thought she lost because her ex-husband just had better lawyers than her, Heard only offered backhanded praise. "I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues," the actress replied, without ever directly naming Vasquez or her colleague. Benjamin Chu. Vasquez's triumphant performance during the tense 6-week trial earned her the title of an unexpected star as well as a newly elevated partner in her firm. However, it hasn't been all rosy for Vasquez, for she has also been the victim of her fair share of criticism. Johnny Depp's lawyer Camille Vasquez claimed that Johnny Depp was too drunk and high all the time to physically abuse Amber Heard. She said, "That's one part of the case I've never understood. He's either drunk and high and incapable of even standing up, or he's drunk and high and able to attack her, chase her, land blows. It just doesn't make sense." People on social media trolled the lawyer, saying that she doesn't understand how alcoholics or substance abusers behave. Fans of Johnny Depp spent over $3,000 to obtain release court documents. The paper reveals Amber Heard's assistant's text conversations with the Aquaman actor concerning Johnny Depp's drunken conduct. She stated, "If someone was truly honest with him about how bad it really was, he would be appalled. I'm sad he does not have a better way to really know the severity of his actions yesterday. Unfortunately for me, I remember them in full detail, everything that happened. He was appalled. When I told him he kicked you, he cried. Because alcohol impairs normal brain function, it is quite common for it to induce aggression or violence in some situations." Amber Heard isn't the only person to accuse Johnny Depp of drunken violence either. Alan Barkin and Johnny Depp first met in 1990 and became fast friends. The actor allegedly hurled a bottle of wine at her in a hotel room after nearly a decade. In her evidence, she said that the actor was either drinking or smoking a joint, and she observed him taking cocaine, marijuana, and hallucinogenic drugs. He was drunk all the most a lot of the time. Ellen Barkin also claimed that the actor used to yell and address one of his assistants as a pig. She said she wasn't surprised when he threw a bottle at her, as there was always an air of violence around him. She called him a yeller and verbally abusive. Johnny Depp may still be under the public scrutiny spotlight, but Camille Vasquez certainly found a lot of takers for her talents. TMZ reported in October that West had recruited Vasquez and her law firm, Brown Rudnick, to handle his commercial interests in the midst of his escalating public image and financial difficulties. However, just a few days later, the site reported that Vasquez had declined to collaborate with the rapper due to his anti-Semitic sentiments. The company allegedly attempted to continue doing business without Vasquez on the condition that West publicly renounce his anti-Semitic sentiments. He apparently refused and fired the law firm. Johnny Depp's lawyer Camille Vasquez also said she felt lucky to defend him in court against his ex-wife and alleged abuser, Amber Heard. In an interview with Vasquez by CBS Morning's host Gayle King, the attorney was asked why she thinks the Pirates of the Caribbean star specifically picked her to take part in the highly publicized defamation case. "It was important to have a woman on the team," the 38-year-old lawyer said, in part. Why? King challenged. "This case called for a woman's perspective," Vasquez answered, "and I was the lucky person chosen to do this job." The trial is over, but the two legal teams are not letting the matter rest, and there could yet be even more that must be ironed out before Johnny Depp and Amber Heard can go their own ways. Appeals have been filed by both parties. Heard has hired a new team of attorneys for her appeal, with David L. Axelrod and J. Ward Brown of Ballard Spahr handling the appeal. Of course, the big law attorneys have a wealth of expertise, but recent defamation experience includes defending the New York Times against Sarah Palin's charges. Only time will tell how things turn out between the two parties. Still, for the moment it seems that Amber Heard is in dire straits financially and emotionally with the damages levied on her and the very public criticism from Camille Vasquez. Will she respond once again to the lawyer's comments, or will she let things slide this time? Guess you'll have to wait for the answer. So, do you think Camille is right about Amber? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.